Hello. This is a short video. I've got something on my chest and I want to say it and I want to get it off and then just maybe create some more conversations, encourage critical thinking. I'm not going to be filing any more reports to the FTC about any multi-level marketing company as pyramid schemes. And this is why. So the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again. This is what they say. This is what we're told in multi-level marketing. I don't even know if this is a true quote. Over and over again, definition of insanity, and expecting different results. Something that I've learned from being a part of this fraud for 5 years, hello Julie and hello Coops, is that cults use language to control you. They control their vocabulary, and they control the way you think and the way you see things. And when you're outside of Oh, there, I'm back. All right. So you say you're not a business owner. When we're in multi-level marketing, we think that we're a business owner. But here's the rub, is that multi-level marketing is so deeply entrenched in culture through decades of lobbying, purchasing politicians, that it is now people outside of multi-level marketing use the same language to reinforce these fraudulent, the whole infrastructure of it. Unknowingly, even as a survivor speaking out, I am using the same language to give it legitimacy and credibility. For example, saying I was part of the MLM industry for 5 years. I was not part of an industry. It's a fraud. You don't hear people talk about the business model that is the Ponzi scheme. Let's dive into the details of the business model that is a Ponzi scheme. No, because it's obvious it's a fraud. Yet that Appendix 7E by John Taylor, 2011, where he shows in a classic no products pyramid scheme, 90% of the people are going to lose money. But yet, when we're in multi-level marketing or talking about multi-level marketing, we're saying, well, 99.6% of people lose money. We don't say it, but we'll talk about the business model. It's an illegitimate business model. It's not a business model. It's a business model the same way as a Ponzi scheme is a business model. People that are even against multi-level marketing are fooled into using the same language that we do when we're in multi-level marketing, reinforcing its legitimacy, all without even realizing it, getting tangled up in conversations about compensation plans, about the behavior of a representative, calling them a distributor, instead of looking at what these things actually are. The FTC is complicit, just as governments have been complicit, with collusion as well. They use the same language that we do when we're in multi-level marketing. If you look at the FTC website where it says multi-level marketing and pyramid schemes, it's almost as if multi-level marketing wrote that. They can't even say what the definition of a pyramid scheme is. How odd is that? How odd is that since 1979, they've had 30, 32, 35 MLMs have been found to be a pyramid scheme and shut down since 1979. How many people that worked for the FTC have gone on to work as a consultant for Herbalife, or for some other multi-level marketing company? Why would the masses of people think that the FTC would have the consumer's best interests at heart with such a track record? If we apply the same kind of logic that if you're going to do the same thing over and over and over again, that's the definition of insanity. What exactly are they doing? And as a cult survivor and as a whistleblower, I don't give a shit if you are understaffed or your budget got cut. That is not good enough. For the people that stick their necks out, who have lost everything, and a government agency or regulatory body is like, what? You're going to have more meetings and talk about how difficult it is, and like cult survivors are supposed to feel sorry for your plight of doing what? Having another meeting? Talking about how difficult it is to do anything? When you can't even get on your website saying that multi-level marketing is like, it's a fucking scam. You don't understand. It's so afraid I'd lose my job. Oh, really? All the people who have left multi-level marketing, people who have made like 6 figures and have decided to speak out, what about them? You're complicit in this. And it's not good enough. And you're not doing anything about it. And it's a waste of time. And it's almost like it's part of the whole scam. Like multi-level marketing is like, ooh, this is so good. Ooh, we've got the FTC. It's like they're going to pretend to do something. They'll like get people to like rally, and we'll do like this business opportunity rule, and but they're not actually doing nothing changes. What it does is it reinforces the legitimacy of multi-level marketing by making it like it is a legitimate business to go after by following all this business format. When if it was just a Ponzi scheme, it would be like, this is a Ponzi scheme, it's fraud. So as I've been like healing, I would use that language. I would say I was part of the MLM industry for 5 years. And it was Robert Fitzpatrick's, one of his last podcast episodes that he had. I was following him and Melissa Milner, Ponzinomics 101. It's on Instagram. And then you can like listen to the podcast. And he was like, it was like a rally to anti-MLM, which even using the term anti-MLM is ridiculous because it's like saying anti-murder. And it shows how messed up this whole thing is when even like culturally, globally, we can't even find the language outside of what multi-level marketing has dictated that it must be talked about. This is the picture that I think of in my mind. There's a maze and there's a little white mouse and it's going through the tunnels, but there's no lid on this maze. And the mouse looks up and is like, you know what? I don't even need to walk up and down all these corridors. I'm just going to get the fuck out. And he just climbs up and down his little mouse body and he fucks off and he gets the cheese. This is what I think of multi-level marketing and the FTC. Why is it even the discussion of whether it is a pyramid scheme or not? Just go after criminal charges for fraud. Any multi-level marketing company, and all of them do this. Say time, money, freedom. That's deception. That's fraud. Any multi-level marketing company saying endless chain recruitment, that's fraud. Susan Dones, who I'm friends with now, one of the original whistleblowers of NXIVM, gave fucking evidence that NXIVM was a pyramid scheme. But they didn't get shut down as a pyramid scheme. Not even when it was found out. Years and years later, all these people whistleblowing. How bad did it have to get? How many fucking women had to get branded before it even got shut down? There's people that don't even know that NXIVM was a multi-level marketing company. Still, it's like, no, we'll just go after them for something else because it's easier to prove. Like, how fucking pathetic is it that it's safer to talk about women getting branded than it is to talk about MLM? If that doesn't give you insight into how dangerous and how stupid this is at the same time, like, I don't know what will. So I look at it, this whole ploy of writing, having this form to fill out with the FTC, and then they can have statistics and they can have more meetings. When nothing is getting done, it's not good enough. It's like Amway has made the rules all over again. 70% of our sales are outside of this pyramid that we're in, this business structure. We don't have the proof, you just believe us. And we're like, okay. So we're like, you know what? You got to prove we're a pyramid scheme. You can fill out this form and it's up to the survivors. It's up to cult survivors who can barely fucking see straight. Some people can't even get therapy. They can't afford it. Or they get a therapist who's like into fucking Melaleuca or New Skin. Because another thing is you can't dare call this a cult. No, it's culty or cultish. This one is a proper cult. Oh, now it's a proper cult. Tell that to abuse victims. Well, you weren't really abused. It was abusey or abuse-ish. No, it's a fucking cult. And people have been abused. And adding an ish or an e to the end of it to make you feel more comfortable and it's like make it more palatable for you to digest is unfucking acceptable. I'm so pissed off about this. And I don't know whether this is my arc of healing. of having the naivety fall and realize how pointless this all is. But I'm not going to be playing the game of what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to say it, because this is how it's always been done. It's bullshit and it's not working. My aim is to encourage people to critically think and to look at what's happening right before their eyes. Nothing has changed. Nothing is getting done. Why is this not criminal? Why is this not fraud? Why is there so much obfuscation within government bodies that are supposed to be protecting the public and putting the onus on victims, even denying that there's a problem by using purposefully deceptive and confusing language? I'm so pissed off. So that's what I wanted to say. And I'm going to read some of your comments. I'm not going to be, and I may change my mind at some point, but right now there is no point. I've seen, it's just something that you want to see, and then there's the reality. And I had enough of seeing what I wanted to see when I was within MLM. And I see how when we're just even using the same language to describe multi-level marketing, which is just propping up the fraud instead of calling it fraud. And all these people within all these government agencies, I'm too afraid to say anything. Well, fuck, guess what? So were all of us. We were too afraid to say something to. Who the fuck is going to say something? I know there's some people out there. It just takes one match to start a fire. You know, I was reading Ponzinomics, Robert Fitzpatrick, when they had that delegation that went to sit down with Bill Ackman, and they said that they couldn't even introduce the word cult to him because they felt like it wouldn't be understood or it would be laughed at. And I've seen it even like on anti-MLM content when I know I've been speaking out, they're like, oh, now it's turning into a cult. No, it is a fucking cult and you don't see it yet. People don't see it yet. And this is why it's so important for people to see what's actually going on. How bad does it have to get before it's a cult in order for you to understand it? Like, how many people have to come forward and say this is a cult before you stop saying it's cultish? You know what I mean? Fuck, I'm so jacked up. So, Feminism says, thanks so much for uploading Marco's video. Can you please do the same and upload Welcome to Life? Amway had this movie banned in 1997. I do have that on my list. And Jessica says, yes, well done, Julie. Thanks for uploading it. So far, I've only had one person from Primerica like comment on it, and I just deleted that comment because that's what I do. I also came across a post today. It was on Reddit, and somebody had said, Primerica isn't a multi-level marketing company. And somebody had linked to when the FTC was doing that whole business opportunity rule. Bullshit. I mean, it's just more busy activity. Distract the public, distract people with you taking activity. You feel good like you're a part of something and you're doing something, but nothing is actually getting done. All it is to serve as a distraction, to just keep the fucking grift going, you know? Anyway, Primerica says it's a multi-level marketing company. It's like, thank you. We got to keep our as multi-level marketing practices as we do in Primerica. That's the line in this whole document. So it's just, And Jessica says, Julie, why do you think so few anti-MLers talk about Amway? Is it fear? I don't really know. I think that a lot of us, okay, there's some people who are anti-MLM who have not been in multi-level marketing, and they have a different perspective. There's those of us who have been in multi-level marketing, we've been in a cult. And it depends on how much healing that we've had or how much therapy, if you've had any therapy, if you've managed to decult or not. So, and how we start to speak out and when we start to speak out, that plays a big part in it. So I know for me, and I've spoken with other cult survivors, which I'm not an expert, but there seems to be a trend or a common theme among some of us that when you initially get out, if you choose to speak out, it feels like there's an urgency. I thought it was a unique thing that only I was experiencing, but apparently like this is a really common thing. And so I want to speak out and I want to help the people who are in the cult I was in. It's like this real urgency. I've seen it. I figured out what's going on. I can't believe I didn't see this before. I want to help my friends. I want to see, and if they can't get out, maybe one day they'll get out. And then there's the whole deconstructing of what I've been part of in a deprogramming that continues to happen. Like even now, I've been out for 1.5 years, and this is my first time I've been able to speak out about Amway. because even when I first got out of multi-level marketing, I still didn't feel it in my body, understand what I had been part of. I thought I had got it. Like, I'm like, okay, I get it. There's no, you can't endless chain recruitment. I understand it. But in my body, I still held so much doubt. I don't even know how else to describe it. I kept anticipating somebody would say, yeah, but Julie, my multi-level marketing company is different and this is why. And then I realized, no, that's not going to happen. You know, as I kept seeing, you know, people giving me different responses, I'm like, it's all the same. But it took time. It took months for that to settle in. And even at that, and then I had to get therapy. I got therapy 4 months out. So I think that why so few people talk about it is for a variety of reasons. Fear could be one of them. But I think a lot of people still have yet to even understand where multi-level marketing started from. They don't even know about Amway. Some people don't even know about Amway. And that's too bad, because that's the mothership. So hopefully, I don't know, I hope that helps. I'm hoping that more people start to speak out about it, and other ones as well. Every comment that anybody makes on any piece of content, any content that people make, it's so good. It doesn't matter, you know, your perspective, whether you've been in or not. It's going to be the cumulative total of diverse voices, diverse perspectives, all kinds of creativity, whether it's a long video, a short video, documentary style, expose, whatever, a TikTok, an Instagram reel, a written post, a blog. It's going to take all of that to help mainstream this conversation, because these government bodies, they're not going to do fuck all. But what can happen, because the FTC didn't help me get out, it was seeing other people create content and me starting to critically think. That's what got me out. And that's what I'm aiming to do, is encouraging more people to have conversations, leave comments, just start seeing what's going on. And hopefully more people start creating content too. It's fear. And Feminism Debunked says it's fear. Jessica, many of the anti-MLRs are terrified of Amway. And I just want to say this too. A lot of these government agencies, the FTC, whatever, I don't know, where they're like, oh, we can't say anything. We're not saying that this is not a pyramid scheme, like in that John Oliver video. They're like, oh, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid you're going to get sued? Because this is the reality check for you. They're way more afraid, multi-level marketing, they're way more afraid than what these government agencies realize. Because, for example, take one YouTuber out of Edmonton and one fucking video. So here you have this company, Primerica. How many millions of dollars? How much is it like to peacock around like it's this really amazing company? How weak is it? How threatened is it that one video on YouTube by a fucking guy in Edmonton can make them so scared that they've got they've threatened him to sue him or whatever, because all his videos are gone now anyway. Maybe they'll come back. Can you imagine if the FTC actually did what they're supposed to do, or not even just fuck that, just go after them for criminal charges, just for fraud? If they're so scared already from one YouTuber, and they're going after this big, massive company from one video on YouTube, can you imagine what would happen if someone actually tried to do something properly? They don't want to fucking have discovery. They don't want to open their books. None of these fuckers want to open their books. Fear is a contagion, but you know what else is a contagion? Is courage. So fucking mad. Kat says there were some saying because they are so well known anyway, but it could be because they have a lot of money backing them. Jenna's I'm loving this fire, Julie. It's so good. You are healing. I wonder if California has some reporting, because that would be anti-MLM's best bet with their new law that they are currently being sued on by Beachbody. And this is the thing, that with that Black Oxygen Organics, that boo, what the fuck good did it do? You see all these people coming together, all this work, it shuts down, and then what? Another one opens up. It's the same fucking guy starting it all over again, or consulting for it. It's not done anything. And how it's giving the illusion that something is being done. Like what I was taught in Rank Makers, be addicted to your activity, not the results, because you don't want to see the results. Because if you actually take the time and look at the numbers, and the numbers don't lie, the numbers will reveal the truth. So how many multi-level marketing companies have been shut down as pyramid schemes since 1979. The numbers don't fucking lie, you know? Fuck. Hi, Sam. Janet says, they fill your brain with smoke and mirrors. It takes time to shatter the mirrors and clear out the smoke. I think you finally got rid of the smoke. I think so, too. It came blasting out today. It started this morning. I was on chatting with Dave Vaughn, too. Poor Dave. Dave, if you're watching this, thanks for putting up with me. I'm like, Feminism Debunks says, what do you make of Scott Johnson's feud with Always Marco? He definitely wants attention. It's so stupid. I don't know if his videos are all gone or if they're just privated. I'm not sure. I hope they come back. And Feminism Debunks says, which MLM do you think is the most damaging? They're all damaging. But if you want to like think of the mothership, I think of Amway or like Neutralite, just the beginning of it all. That's what I would think, because it spawned all of the other ones and it continues to have the most power. And Kat says, well, it sounds like the lawyer on Boo has petitioned the new company too. Yeah. And what's going to happen? Like, I mean, even if that one gets shut down, like what's going to happen? Modere is going to continue to be social retail. These multi-level marketing coaches will continue to say, well, stay with this company. It's not going to end. And it's pointless to keep doing, filing a report that nothing is going to get done. Like you have somebody that is working like at the FTC, whatever their job is, you know, how many victims have to come forward where it's so hard to even put down what's happened to you because your timeline is fucked up? How many cult survivors have you spoken to? Why is the onus on the victims to come forward to get you en masse, to get you to do your job? Because you're controlled by multi-level marketing. It's just what I think of it as that mouse in that maze. And we're all in this maze, and like continuing to play this game is like not even like, here's multi-level marketing, this one big fucking pyramid sitting there. And we're all like, oh, we're going to file a report to this. Oh, make sure you file a report to Canada Competition Bureau. Like they're not going to do anything. And then meanwhile, you see these distributors in multi-level marketing, myself included, we would make all these claims and people are like, why are they getting away with the claims? Because there's no consequences. Because what are we going to do? You go on Facebook, you see your friend get sucked in. You make a report, they're like, oh, they're making a false health claim. Well, let's talk about that and let's file it with the FTC. Meanwhile, Big Pyramid is like, perfect. That's exactly what I want you to do. Keep filing reports to the FTC because they're not going to do a goddamn thing. That's exactly what we want you to do. Keep talking about that 99.6% of people fail. Keep talking about it. It's a business model. That's exactly what we want you to talk about. That's the way I see it right now. I could change my mind, but I'm just so heated right now. Feminism Debunks says, how long were you in the MLM game for? 5 years. And I've only been out a year and a half. So I recognize that there's a lot of things that I don't know. And there's a lot of people that have come before me that have done a lot of work that I'm unaware of and that has cleared out space for me to speak out to. So I want to acknowledge that. And also all the people that are speaking out that I don't know about. A lot of people I have connected with that are speaking out, and they're doing amazing work. It's going to take all kinds of voices coming from all different angles, and nobody needs to be all in agreement. There needs to be disagreement because those differing perspectives and diversity is what's needed, because it's all about conformity and one group think. You know, when you're in MLM, Avon is old too. Yeah, Janet, he's a huge baby. Erica, they're all damaging in their own special way, pretending not to be an MLM, false health claims, promoting disordered eating, encouraging front loading. And all this goes away if you just say it's for fraud. Pick any one of those things. But then instead it's like, oh no, please talk about how we're a pyramid scheme, because then we're going to get caught up and we'll have lawyers and you need an expert witness. And oh shoot, you know what? There's a lack of academic researchers studying pyramid schemes. So guess what? This case is going to drag out for 5 years. It's like, go after these fuckers for fraud. Quit fucking around. Like if this wasn't multi-level marketing, if it was just someone saying, you can, you enroll 5 people and you enroll 5 people, whatever. Oh, it's fraud. Let's bring criminal charges. But no, multi-level marketing. Let's talk about the business model. It's not a business model. It's fraud. It's a crime. We got to stop using the same language that we used when we were in it. Because we think that we're carving out freedom and we're getting ourselves back. But in effect, we're like edifying the abuser still, even now. It's so brutal. And Kat says, no, it won't end. But if sales continue to decrease from social media, companies can't cash flow. And that's where I feel like there's a lot of power in spreading awareness and empowering people just to make it unpalatable to purchase MLM products and make it like a boycott, you know? And it will take some time because people that will like, well, you know what? I really like my Scentsy wax melts. It's like, because you like Scentsy wax melts doesn't make it okay. It just needs to get people just, once they know, they get it. But it's trying to fight through all these excuses that people that aren't in multi-level marketing make for multi-level marketing without realizing they're too being controlled, albeit like subtly and indirectly, just the same as we were when we were in multi-level marketing. Defending them, calling them an illegitimate business model or a business model. So they're not a business model. It's a fraud. Well, I want to buy this product. It's like you're contributing to the problem, you know? Fuck. Julie says, these are great points. It seems like preventing people from falling into MLMs and helping them see the truth if they are. That's what I feel. Like I feel that's where I'm putting my energy into. Is that kind of thing. And then maybe there will be, you know, change at government level or whatever, but going to them to expect to help is a fool's errand, in my opinion. They've done nothing. The more I've learned, like just, you know, I just finished reading Robert Fitzpatrick's Direct Selling, a nonfiction fable. And he talks about how I did this when I was in multi-level marketing. I talked about it's the direct selling industry as if those words, direct selling, conjures up an idea of goodness, of true service, of a real amazing industry. But he describes what direct selling actually is. And it's not just like, okay, this is not, you know, buying products from multi-level marketing, but going back to what direct selling was actually like, where it was smarmy and it was deceptive as fuck. And it would be really manipulating people, using all kinds of tactics in order to get in. It's like, it's not a warm, fuzzy feeling for multi-level marketing to even brag or say we're the direct selling industry. There's so many things that we just accept without questioning. And language is one of the most important ones. That's what I'm learning. Is even saying direct selling association. We're just accepting it. Direct selling. What is though direct selling? They're taking a concept that is just so disgusting and gross and doesn't have really nice, good feelings with it when you look at the history of it. And they're making it into something it isn't to cover up something they're not. And they use words like sales, you know, David Breer, who was in Ponzi-nomics, and I've had one long phone call with, and I'm going to be having another one with him right away here. He left a comment saying, like, even using the terms like multi-level marketing sales is incorrect because it's not sales. It's not sales outside of this structure. It's the distributors. It's all happening within it. So even when you're talking about it, you know what I mean? Like, it's such a trap, and it's so frustrating to just, I'm trying to find language that, like, just from my brain being fucked with Monade and rank makers. And then you're like battling this whole other massive thing where you're like, I had no idea it was this big. I had no idea it was so global. I mean, I had to question my reality enough when I was just leaving. And now it's like encountering this and then trying to find a way to speak out and perhaps use my platform to encourage people to do the right thing, which I'm thinking, oh, well, it would be good to file a report with the FTC. And it's like, no, and they're complicit in it. It's like, what, you have 2 or 3 people that you know that are really nice and they talk about how hampered they are because what, you don't have enough people working for you? Like, fuck off. I don't want to hear your fucking excuse, you know? It's yeah. Hi, it must be me. Jessica says, Janet, kind of agree with you about Dinkle Dork. I'm going to call him Dinkle Dork. But he does have a point about the Amway tool scam. Yes, most of the anti-MLMers underestimate the Amway tool scam. You're right. You're absolutely right about that. Janet says, I've learned that MLM owners and the corporate of MLMs all have other criminal activity going on behind the scenes. Like I'm trying to go after the owners. Yeah. And I think these enterprises, these frauds exist on having distributors or whatever the fuck we are, whatever you want to call us, behave in horrible ways, because then they can deny that they have said for us to act this way. And also all the direction is on the reps, because there's way more reps out there all acting ridiculous, making all these claims, being obnoxious, talking about how all these haters, all these anti-MLM haters, how you're just trying to hold me back. You want to see me fail. This is a beautiful industry. And where's all the attention going on to what these things actually are? It must be me, says it's a scam model. If you ask them about MLMs, they'll be like, rank maker, how? Yeah, how, lady, how MLM is fraud. This is Glenn. I'd like to thank Primerica for bringing my attention to Julie Anderson. I'd never heard of Julie before she re-uploaded always Marco's censored video. You do good work, Glenn. And if you want to tell your story on my channel, you're welcome anytime. Janet says, I still haven't figured out how to turn in Terry LaCour for PPP loan fraud and his lawyer, but I haven't done anything in about a month because my daughter got married and we just moved in this week. You know what, Janet, congratulations to your daughter. And that's really awesome. And that is far more important than living our lives is more important than putting these fuckers ahead of us. I just finished my last interview with Guru Nishan. She grew up in a Kundalini yoga cult and left only 2 years later, get involved in multi-level marketing. And her story is fucking wild. People left from Equinox, and you'll recognize some of these names because they've moved from, so Equinox, Trek Alliance, Symmetry, World Ventures, Secret. And some of these fuckers are now in Secret. And she tells this incredible story. Where the hell was I going with this? This is the quote that she said. She drops a number of really good quotes. I was like, oh my God, I would love like all her, the bumper sticker reductions that multi-level marketing companies like to say, like all of this shit that she says in these interviews, it's like you could like make Pinterest quotes and like just combat. They're so good. She said one of the things that she's never going to do is sacrifice her present for the future ever again after coming out of all of her experience. And I thought that was really cool because it's about living our lives. The best way we can heal and really create change is like healing ourselves. Of course, taking action, but it needs to be meaningful action instead of being played. I don't want to be fucking played again. I feel like I'm being manipulated and played by this illusion that the FTC is even going to do anything when they're not doing anything. Talk is cheap. Let's see your fucking results, Sam says, I want my bronchitis to go away. I've had enough of it now. Oh, no. I hope you don't get reached out to from an MLM hunt. Sam, you know what? I had some probiotics for you. And Sweet Gus says, buying the products is funding trafficking in my mind. Yeah, and I think until that awareness starts to get just more widespread, and I believe that that's going to happen. I think that's an inevitability because more and more people are comfortable to talk about it. The shame is still there, but there's that knowledge that this is a necessary step. Like owning that shame, moving through it, getting help, getting therapy. It's so important. You're not alone. Like this is meant for you to feel shame. This is meant for you to not speak out. This is meant for you to stay in. This is meant for you to try another MLM. Once these conversations become more mainstream, I think people will then naturally see, oh God, I had no idea. Because when people have no idea, it's like you just don't know. You don't really think, well, what's the big deal? I just really like this product, And there are good products out there. So I totally understand that. Potato Supreme says, do you think we should say outright cult? Yes, it is. And because that is mostly seen as religious. Or educate people what a high control group is. This is so good. So this is my opinion. Dancing around and being too afraid to say that the emperor has no clothes is not something I'm going to do. Making it like talking about abuse in a way that is going to make it more palatable for other people to accept it what it is. It's not like I am not going to play that game anymore. I wasn't playing the game to begin with. Who the fuck am I kidding? Right? It's a cult. And people's perceptions need to change. It's their own biases. Like, why is it that it's only acceptable if it's a cult, if it's like religious, or if it's on a compound, or if there's been a suicide, or if there's been like sexual abuse? Why is that? Where did you get that idea from? You know, like, not you specifically, Potato. I'm like thinking of, like, every time I see your name, I always think of Spoon Man to Soundgarden. I'm like, I'm so glad you recommended that song. But where did that idea come from? And why is it so important for you? Again, not you, but why is it so important for you to then say, well, this doesn't fit into what I believe a cult is, with all my extensive studies and research and speaking to various cult survivors. Therefore, it's culty. You know, it's like, it's a fucking cult just because it's not religious. And MLMs, they are religious. How much faith manipulation they use, how they twist even like manifestation, personal development. It is. And it's like, well, but that's not what I really think. It's like nobody wants to name what is right there, because it's very uncomfortable, because then you're going to actually have to face that. It's like, I have done nothing about this. I can't believe I didn't see it like this. And it's like, for those of us that have been within it, think about how I'm not talking to you, Potato, like I'm like speaking like just generally, right? How do you think it feels for people who have woken up to try to unpack this shit? And it's like, shit, I've been in a cult. And then you come out and they're like, well, it's not really a cult. You know, it's more like, it's like, let's soften it. Let's call it something what it isn't. Let's say, well, some are legitimate multi-level marketing companies and pyramid schemes. I mean, it's like, it's a cult. I think it's time to cut through the bullshit and just call it what it is. It's fraud. It's a cult, period. I was going to be like pyramid scheme, but it's a fraud and it's a cult. The only way this fucker has persisted since 1979 is because it's a cult. The mind control. When you can show people that endless chain recruitment is an impossibility, when you show people that more than a Ponzi scheme, there's a higher failure rate, and people will argue with you, this has nothing to do with logic and statistics. This is mind control. This is what brainwashing does. People say, I don't like the term brainwashing. I didn't like to be brainwashed. I had someone say, I don't like the term cult. I didn't like to be a part of one. They are a cult. And I think it's doing a disservice to victims and survivors by pretending to use language to make it seem like something it's not, to soften it. It's abuse. Yeah, fuck. I just went on I'm fucking on a soapbox. Oh my God. Erica says religious cults are higher on the spectrum, but pyramid schemes are also cults. MLM is fraud, says Julie. I think we need to try and make Marco's video the most re-uploaded video of all time. I urge everyone watching it to re-upload it to their channels. There is nothing that Primera can do about that. There you go. I think Ban the Scam also re-uploaded it. So there's the call to action from Glenn. Janet says, I agree, Jessica. He has a point. It's valid, but it's not what makes them a pyramid scheme. The Costco rule makes them a pyramid scheme because they check both of the boxes of the Costco test. And, you know, this would all go away if we just wipe it off and be like, it's fraud. You know, why get like, you know, because I was getting like sucked into that. It's like, well, it's a pyramid scheme. I'm going to show how this all is. And it doesn't matter. Because they'll just find something else to complain about and just, you know, well, that's really ridiculous. No, we're not a cult, you know. And it's like, you are a cult. You are a fraud. I agree, Glenn. Re-uploaders. Yeah. Often when things are censored, it makes them bigger. We need to do this with Marco's video. I agree. If mine gets taken down, I'll just re-upload it. RZ Fitness TV says, new fan here. I hope the channel is going well. Thank you. Sam says a lot of product-based pyramid schemes are turning into religious cults, and they are already religious cults. This is the thing too, is that when I was in Rank Makers and also like Mon 8, there was things that I see that it has changed into this. It's always been like this. It hasn't, it's like when you're dating someone and you make excuses for the behavior, only to realize they were always like that. You just minimize the red flags kind of thing, right? I think it's because that it's being more revealed that it's like, oh shit, this is a religious cult. It always had that religious component. This has gone back since 1979 Amway. All of these multi-level marketing companies, they're not reinventing the wheel. It doesn't start off with like a person that has left Amway to leave another company and another one to start up Equinox and then realize, oh no, we're not going to do religious manipulation. We're going to do it right. They all stem from Amway and they all use religious manipulation. There is nothing new here. It is the same story. What I think is that it's just becoming more mainstream. People are becoming aware of it, starting to see that this is, oh shit, this is happening here. Wait a second. Now there is a religious part in this. Oh yeah. There's a huge, like I've been seeing, I haven't watched a lot of Aaron's videos about Optavia, but I catch snippets here and there and it's like, holy fuck. That one is, but it's happening in every multi-level marketing company because they all stem from Amway. They're all modeled on Amway. None of them would be here without Amway. It Must Be Me says, direct selling used to be really powerful for the Black community in the US via Madam C.J. Walker, helped provide people of color products they needed and couldn't get elsewhere. Thank you for that piece of history. Thank you for that. MLM is fraud. My father has been in Amway for 23 years and he literally has 0 customers. He has prospected thousands of people and has no customers. And that belief is driven because Amway is a cult. That's why. You would not see this in any other business, and Amway isn't a business. It's not sales outside the company. It's theft inside it. Ooh, that's a good one. MLM says the only sales he has ever made is through people who he convinced that he could help become rich. Equinox, it was just called Equinox, but they got shut down by the FTC. And then there was like a team or something that left to go to Trek Alliance. Then Trek Alliance got shut down by the FTC and then it moved to Symmetry. And Amanda says, late, but I'm glad I caught you live. And Janet says, yeah, Kangen is the water purifier cult. And I just found out, this was on Reddit and I don't know, but I think fucking Ray is coming to Calgary. Welcome to Alberta. He's like a speaker. You can pay $400 to have coffee with him. Kangen. You imagine that stimulating conversation. Jessica says, I think that guy has Stockholm syndrome. He knows that 99.7% of people lose money. He's aware of the Amway tool scam, but he continues to defend the MLM industry. He is living proof of just how effective MLM brainwashing is. One thing I learned from watching Always Marco respond to Losing Fortunes Radio is how there's such a perfect example of saying the same things over and over and over again. They always stop. They cannot stop talking about themselves. And their success means that it is a success. There is no critical thinking. It blankets their ability to reason. They default to talking about themselves and how successful they were and pointless, meaningless stories from the past. And Unfiltered Truth says, thanks. I just subscribed to MLM is fraud. Right on. And that tool scam, it is important to talk about that because you see it. It's baked into a lot of other multi-level marketing companies as well. MLM says, Scott is a good guy. He means well. He has even fought with Amway in court. Having said that, I disagree with him that there is not a problem with the structure of the MLM business model. Emery says, I wonder if there's any way to spread MLM awareness in churches. That would be great. Because the people that are in MLMs they're doing a very good job spreading about it in churches because a lot of them recruit from their church communities. It's horrible. Doris, hello, Doris. Thanks for sending me that email. Feminism says, exactly. It is a cult. People in the Amway cult listen to Amway tapes nonstop, just like they do in a religious cult. Exactly. And Erica, 100%, we should not be afraid to call them cults when the brainwashing is so blatant. Exactly. Dancing around, talking about something what it actually is only feeding into like the abuse to continue. What purpose is it serving? When is it going to be safe to say the emperor isn't wearing any clothes? This is a fraud. This is a cult, I think it just shows how fucked up it is, like just in our minds, like just collectively, that we have resistance to even saying the truth because, but people might not want to hear the truth. What people? Like, I want to hear the truth, you know? It's like, what is it in us? How can we even be so manipulated that even knowing all this stuff, seeing so many videos from so many representatives, from so many companies, from decades, that we still have resistance to just saying it's a cult? That's the grip that these companies have, that this fraud has. It's just fucking shocking. Okay, potato, I'm glad. Okay, good. Dale, don't feel personally. I felt so bad, right? Because sometimes when I look back, I'm like, holy fuck, I really went off there. I'm like, I hope nobody was taking it personally. I'm on my soapbox ranting and raving here. Janet says, Glenn, that's why I say Scott can't see past Amway. He's anti-Amway and anti-tool scam. It's just like he has to have the last word. Yeah. Julie says, I think the religious group is a cult and nothing else, just lack of knowledge. I didn't know what an MLM was until 3 years ago. They use the same methods to control, and it's the same as all cults. So Susan Dones and I run this like support group. It is not therapy, and there is no money. You do not pay money to do this. And we meet every other week, and it's like just cult survivors just to hang out, and you just kind of talk. And it's so weird. Like, it doesn't matter what cult you're in. It's the same shit. It's the same playbook. It doesn't even matter if it's multi-level marketing. It can be some other fucking cult. It's wild. They do the same things. It's like I see my story. Like, I'm like, are you serious? That happened to you too? It's just, it's comforting, but it's also weird. It's comforting knowing I'm not alone, but also like, this is the exact same thing that has been going on for decades, like, and longer, you know, but like just within multi-level marketing. But then you see all these other people that have these experiences, and they're telling a story. It's like if you had to just like substituted Mon 8 in there and rank makers, it's the same story. Janet says he's not getting the last word. Bell says you make more money in pyramid schemes and MLMs. MLM is fraud. Amway is an extreme occult as you'll ever see. My dad literally listens to Amway propaganda 10 hours a day. I was like that with rank makers. I would tune in every day to see Ray go live. And then that didn't even count all the courses I took. All the other places he'd go live. He would go live in rank makers, and he'd go live on his page. He would go, like, it was the courses I'd purchase, I'd listen to reprogram my subconscious. This is when I was like, this is similar to the Amway tool scam. Are these fucking coaches too? They were in multi-level marketing, and now they're doing coaches. It's like they're taking everything they've learned, and they're like outside of multi-level marketing. Stephen Hassan was the link I posted. Oh, good. I hope it showed up. Sometimes my links don't, or the things don't show up. And so MLM is fraud. Like, if they take mine down, I'll upload another 10. Exactly. The Kangan people are particularly creepy. I posted this thing on Instagram. There was this guy in India, and it's really messed up. He walks into a room. It's a Kangan meeting, and apparently, guess what? He's at the top of the Kangan pyramid. And people are like throwing rose petals at him, and they're chanting, and he's lapping it up. And I'm like, they're like narcissist factories, multi-level marketing companies. Because anybody in your fucking right mind, if somebody was like throwing rose petals on me and wanted to hold an umbrella over my head, and I'm selling fucking multi-level marketing product, I'm like, no, you don't be standing there going like this to me on stage as I'm giving some bullshit speech. Like, if you think that's okay behavior, like, that is fucked up. So he feels like he is owed that, this deference. I can't fucking say that word, you know? Sam says, hey, Janet, have you seen the MLM movie, Welcome to Life? Amway successfully had it banned for 8 years, but today it is legal and all over the internet. I need to share that. Andrea M says, a cult is a cult is a cult. Unless you're in a cult, then you don't know it's a cult. Yep. Riley Hall says, hi, Julie. Watching Ray spiral makes me so happy and relieved. I woke up when I did and got the fuck out. I am so glad you did too. I got sent an email. I got sent something from someone about this. I don't know where I put my phone. And it's like promoting the next Rank Makers live event. Maybe you got the email yourself, but it's called Faith Over Fear Live. And what they're doing to attract people to this event is to say, you can come for absolutely free. The only thing you have to do is pay $97 so we can get an accurate head count. And then when you get there, you're going to get your $97 refunded right back to you. but you have to pay for your airfare and you have to pay for your accommodations and all this stuff. And if it's at the same hotel that it was before, you also have to pay for the internet, which is bullshit, because you go to a Super 8, you don't have to pay for your internet. But how messed up is it? How convoluted is that when you're in multi-level marketing and he's giving you this spiel, like to come to a multi-level marketing coaching event, pay $97, and once you get there, you're going to get your $97 refunded to you. It's a scam. It's just so gross. MLM is frauds. Without the tools, people like my father would have quit years ago. The power of the tools cannot be underestimated. And when I was talking with Guru Nishan, she was saying how like it's so alarming how it's like there's super predators now, like with the internet, and it's the tools are the same way, because there's something that it fucks up with your brain. It's addictive and it's comforting, and you really do feel like you're learning something. So listening to those cassette tapes over and over and over again, or whatever he's listening to now. But yeah, exactly. That's why Peter does his 10-minute intro. It's like, oh my God. MLMs is fraud. Glenn says, Julie, have you seen Becoming a God in Central Florida? My father is literally the guy in the movie. It's amazing, as though they copied this story. I did see it. It really was, it hit so close. It's exactly it. When I saw it, I watched it on Vumu and I was taking screen recordings of it and I was putting it up in my stories just to, like, maybe someone will see it and they'll say, oh, what is this? It might help them wake up. Because that's sad. Emery says, I think people use protective language so they don't get sued. Like it's a cult, in my opinion. Yeah, exactly. And the FTC even does it too. Even the FTC is scared. So it's like when you have so many people scared to point out that it's abuse, it's like I've hired a lawyer and the lawyer is too afraid to say that I'm innocent in case they're going. It's like, who is going to be the person that stands up and says it's a cult? Collectively, people like on the internet, mainstream, when it becomes, it's like, this is a cult. But I get it. Like, I totally understand. Like, you have a target on you and then you get a cease and desist and then you get sued. But it's wrong. It's wrong that people are living in fear, because it means the abuser is controlling everyone. And the abuser is this big pyramid. When is it okay? When is it safe enough to say the emperor isn't wearing any clothes? What's it going to take? Such a good point. Emery says, another reason people don't want to call it a cult because people think you're marginalizing actual cults. I want to know who thinks they're marginalizing actual cults, because every cult survivor I've spoken with does not see it like that. I think what that is that people are like, yeah, I would like to know who thinks that, because when you've been in a cult, you see the similarities. I think this is coming. This is what I think. And you can correct me. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But it's been my experience that cult survivors, it's like, we're like, oh, thank God. It's like, I felt the same way. That is so wild that you experienced this and you're in an MLM and I'm in this one. I've never heard somebody actually think marginalizing actual cults. It's so strange. MLM is fraud. It says, Julie, a very interesting video was recently uploaded onto YouTube on the How History Works channel. How two families shaped American politics and war for their profit. Is that about DeVos and Van Andel? Ugh, it is. It shows how Amway literally bought every political party in America. Sandra Fulbright says, there aren't many third spaces that aren't work or home that are free anymore. Every activity requires a monetary buy-in. The commercialization of relationships dulls the senses to MLMs. Really good point. Sam says, it looks like a cult, smells like a cult. Call your dad, you're in a cult. Amway bought the Republican Party. MLM is fraud. Julie, when I was learning to drive, my dad would not take me for a drive unless there was an Amway CD playing. Literally every minute I was learning to drive, there was an Amway tape playing. Sandra says, pretending both sides do it disguises the criminality at the heart of the current Republican Party. And Erica says, on Becoming a God in Central Florida is so good. I wish I could finish it, but I don't have anywhere to watch. Doesn't Vumu work? That VUMOO? It's like free. Is it like Napster or whatever? MLM, Glenn says, yes, Welcome to Life is a very good example. It was a small film that played at a film festival. Amway threw everything at getting it banned. This turned the movie into a censorship debate. And this is what's so wild to me. Like, I just think going back to anybody, a YouTube creator, It could be, there's been multiple YouTube creators that speak out against a multi-level marketing company, and they're so threatened. These companies are so terrified that they will serve a cease and desist to try to get a YouTuber to stop making videos. If somebody just had the balls, like a lawyer or whoever the fuck, however they go about prosecuting these guys, and be like, you know what? Fuck it. This is fraud. Let's go. Let's see your books. Open them up. They would shit their pants. They're already shitting their pants when one YouTube video gets created. They're weaker. They live on fear, same way as abuse. It's when you stand up to the abuse and you stand up to the fear, right? But I get why it happens, because it's way more complicated than, it's like, oh, why isn't anybody doing it? I get why, but I'm just belly aching right now. Riley's like, yes, I'm getting emails from rank makers, and Ray has been tagging everyone in groups from 2 years ago. Julie says, I see a lot of technical difficulties when Ray tries to give the refunds. Yeah, MLM is fraud. Amway suing it made it bigger. We need to do this with Marco's video. We need to contact media outlets and turn it into a censorship debate. But please, guys, upload it over and over again. Sam's like, let's go after MLMs who sue harder. If we do that, they will stop suing. Erica says, yeah, it's terrifying now with social media because they have access to everyone. Doris is also getting tagged in every group. There's so many Facebook groups within each multi-level marketing company. And for this side conversation going on here, it's about rank makers. And there were so many groups, 14-day challenge groups, 1K challenge groups. Anytime there's any kind of contest or new course, they'll make another group. So whenever he has something to promote, he puts it in this group, or his staff do. And then you get all your notifications are just filled up with his like, oh, come to Faith Over Fear Live. Emery's like, I'm not sure how to reach all of the right-wing people in MLMs to get them out. This is the other thing too. And I'm going to have to get off right now because I'm going to have to go to work. But getting rid of multi-level marketing companies, or getting them, like, exposing them as fraud, is only a part of this whole thing, because there's the much huge, gigantic part of this are the millions of people who continue to get sucked into this and who believe that it is legitimate. There needs to be education onto why people are getting scammed into this, there needs to be deprogramming. That people need to know, identify red flags. What is coercive control? What is a cult? It's like, well, I can't describe it as a cult. It's like, well, all these people are going to be like, if multi-level marketing company went away the next day, the problem is that all the people that are left, like, what's the matter with me? Was I so stupid? It's like that needs to be addressed in all of this as well. And that's why I think calling things as they are is important. The language is important. I don't want to play the game of using the language that's only approved by multi-level marketing to protect them, because that's protecting the abuser. MLM is fraud is there are a larger percentage of cult survivors who get out that speak out against a traditional cult than MLM cult survivors. Exactly. MLM survivors are far more likely to defend the MLM cult. Yep. Although there's more and more people in the anti-MLM movement, and especially in this comment section. So thank you very much. Emery says, I wonder if writing to senators would help. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I'm just like frustrated and spitballing and yelling here. So maybe it would. The more, the way survivors of MLM cults defend the MLM is proof of just how effective the MLM tools are. Yeah. Janet is back. I hate talking on the phone yet. There's not been an American president in the last 30 who has not taken money off the MLM industry. The fact that rank makers are contacting people from 2 years ago smacks of desperation. Oh my God, it's so true. 2 years ago, can you imagine? Jessica says MLMs need to be taught in schools. I agree. Most MLM participants are signed up when they turn 18. Yeah, it's not taught. How is this not taught? This is a crucial life skill to avoid these things, getting sucked into scams. I learned the quadratic equation in high school. What the fuck good did that do me? I didn't learn how to avoid a scam and get sucked in after owning a dollar store for 9 years. Jesus Christ. I get sucked in at 42. Oh my God. Erica says, I've already taught my 8-year-old niece that friends don't let friends join MLMs. Good for you. Shelby's like, something will take the place of the MLM industry if the distributors do not get proper education to get out and accept why it's a good thing. Yes, that's exactly what I think too. The vacuum could create a worse situation. It's tricky. Agree. Absolutely agree. Something will rush to fill the void because those people are needing something. Just like I was. And there'll be other cults. It wouldn't need to be multi-level marketing, but it's like that's another component on all of this is like giving people the language to name things as they are, to the courage to start seeing things as they are, and also the courage to start like speaking about their experiences. MLM is frauds. Like MLM should be taught in schools. That is why Amway made Betsy DeVos the Minister of Education. Yeah. Eric is like, I still remember the quadratic formula. Like, why do we, and I know how to do a derivative. If X squared, and then it's 2X. Why do I know that? Why did we also get taught that the coelacanth was no longer extinct? I remember it was like in 1985. Oh my God. This was like this huge thing. They're like, the coelacanth is no longer extinct. They thought that it was extinct and it's not. Like, why do I remember this? Why was I even taught this? Why was I like taught how to play the recorder? And Riley Hall says half the teachers are in MLMs themselves. Yeah. And the DSA Canada, Direct Sellers Association, which is ridiculous name. They had a meeting. It was like in 2018, and their notes, the minutes of the meeting were like, oh, we got to reach out to like education, provincial education, and get teachers to give testimonies on how much they love their products and how much they like earning extra money on the side in multi-level marketing. And this is going on. This is their strategy. In fact, I was just sent another thing from Dave Vaughn on Instagram, how the DSA is like bragging about being on Parliament Hill again. So they're meeting with various members of Parliament. They're advocating for the industry. Nobody's advocating for the victims. They're advocating for a fraud, for criminal enterprise. They're advocating for crime. They're up in Ontario right now. All these MPs going to have pictures on the DSA website. Holy fuck. Janet says, my kids know, and I hope they tell others. The trickle down. Yeah. Sam says, America has turned into a country where you cannot survive with a minimum wage job. This has helped the MLM industry. Exactly. Emery's like, hey, don't dunk on the coelacanth. I'm sorry. I don't. The coelacanth is important, and I remember it. I just don't know why it was like stressed so much. MLM is frauds. LOL. My father's sponsor was a school teacher. He said there was no money in school teaching, but he did it because he loved it. Oh man. Well, that's all I got. I wanted to just shoot this out there into the internet and see what you think, and maybe encourage some more conversations going on. It's really hard to have people from various cults within multi-level marketing get together and like cooperate like direct selling, because people have left cults. And some people have had therapy. Some people have had therapy, but some people haven't. So, anybody that has left a cult is very suspicious of anybody wanting to take the lead. And we're still trying to figure out how to say things, how to like process our experience. So having like a force or something coalesce, similar like a lobby group with multi-level marketing, it's a very different set of circumstances with a lot of different variables that need to be respected, with people's just their ability to speak out and their healing and the way they heal, because it's not linear. And plus you got lives going on at the same time, so I'm hoping that I'm just hoping that putting this out there can we can just have more conversations about this. That's what I want. The more people that are talking about this, the better. The more it's mainstream saying the words like cult, this is a fraud. Wait a second. This isn't even a business model. Why is it? Why don't we talk about Ponzi schemes being a business model? Why is it that Ponzi schemes have a higher rate of success than MLMs, but they're clearly a fraud? Why is that? Why is it like Ponzi-nomics, Robert Fitzpatrick talks about in multi-level marketing, the only success, it depends on having a positive optimism and confidence, regardless of, you know, the facts of having a finite market. You can't have endless chain recruitment. And anyway, you know what I mean. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.